I heard the words, but they didn't register. Not at first. Mom, we've been talking, and we think it's time. Nicole set down her coffee cup with that careful precision she uses when she's nervous. Sunset Hills has an opening. We put a deposit down. I blinked. The morning sun was streaming through my kitchen window, the same window I'd looked through for 32 years. Sunset Hills? The assisted living place on Route 9? It's not just assisted living, Mom. It's a continuing care community. Derek jumped in, always eager to support his wife. They have activities, medical staff, everything you'd need. Everything I'd need. As if I were a burden to be managed. I'm 67 years old. I'm not an invalid. My voice came out steadier than I felt. I walk 3 miles every morning. I volunteer at the library twice a week. What on earth would make you think? Mom. Nicole reached across my kitchen table, but I pulled my hands back. It's not about what you can do now. It's about planning ahead. This house is too big. The stairs, the maintenance. What if you fall? I'd raised this girl alone after Robert died. Worked double shifts at the library to put her through college. Helped with the down payment on her first house. And now she sat in my kitchen, in the home Robert and I had built from the ground up, telling me it was too big. I'm not going anywhere, I said. The look that passed between Nicole and Derek told me this conversation was far from over. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation, looking for the moment everything changed. When had my daughter started seeing me as an obstacle instead of her mother? Robert's photo sat on my nightstand. 43 years we'd been married when the heart attack took him. 5 years he'd been gone, and I still reached for him in the night sometimes. What would you do, sweetheart? I whispered to the photograph. But I already knew. Robert never took anything lying down. He'd taught me that. The question was whether I still had it in me. The answer came 3 days later when I walked into my kitchen and found Nicole sitting at the table with a woman in a navy blazer. Mom! Great timing. Nicole's smile was too bright. This is Sharon from Blackwell Realty. I asked her to stop by and give us an assessment. You know, just to see what the house might be worth. For planning purposes. My house, the one Robert and I designed together, argued over paint colors for, where we'd brought Nicole home from the hospital. Sharon, the realtor, stood up, extending her hand. Mrs. Brennan, what a lovely home. I've actually had my eye on this neighborhood for quite some time. These mid-century builds are very desirable right now. I shook her hand automatically, my mind reeling. I'm sorry. Nicole invited you without mentioning it to me? Oh, just a preliminary look. Sharon was already pulling out her tablet. But between you and me, in this market, you could easily get $750,000, maybe $800,000. Location alone is worth. Get out. Both women froze. I'm sorry? Sharon asked. Out of my house. Now. Mom! Nicole shot up from her chair. That's incredibly rude. Sharon drove all the way. I don't care if she flew in from Mars. This is my house, and I didn't invite her here. I held Sharon's gaze until she started gathering her things. Of course, I apologize for the confusion. Sharon edged toward the door. Nicole, I'll wait in the car. The moment the door closed, Nicole turned on me. What is wrong with you? I'm trying to help. Help? You're trying to sell my house out from under me. That's not Mom. Be reasonable. You can't keep up with this place. The property taxes alone are ridiculous. And we have Emma's college coming up, and Tyler will be right behind her. There it was. The truth, finally crawling out into the light. So this is about money. My voice was quiet, deadly quiet. Robert used to say that's when I was most dangerous. It's about being smart. This house is an asset just sitting here while you rattle around in it alone. You'd be so much happier at Sunset Hills, with people your own age, activities, while you sell my home and pocket $750,000? Nicole's face flushed. That's not fair. Derek and I work hard. We've built a good life for our kids. Is it so wrong to want to secure their future? Using my house? Mom, you're being selfish. Think about Emma and Tyler. Don't you want them to have opportunities? Or are you going to hoard this place out of some sentimental, get out? Mom, I said get out of my house. Now. I watched her grab her purse, her face twisted with anger. She slammed the door so hard the windows rattled. I stood in my kitchen, shaking. Not with fear, with rage, pure, crystallized rage, and clarity. I made coffee the good stuff, the French roast Robert loved, and I sat down at my kitchen table with a notepad. For the first time in 5 years, I felt like I had a purpose. Nicole thought I was old and stupid. She thought I'd just roll over and let her dump me in a facility while she cashed in on my life's work. She was about to learn better. I started with a phone call to James Whitmore, the attorney who'd handled Robert's will. "James, it's Margaret Brennan. I need to schedule an appointment, and I'd like to discuss revising my estate plan." "Of course, Maggie. Is everything all right?" "Everything's fine. I've just been doing some thinking about the future." Next, I called my friend Patricia from the library. "Pat, remember when you moved to that new senior apartment complex on Riverside? The one you keep raving about? Meadowbrook?" "Oh, Maggie, I love it. 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, and there's a whole community. Game nights, book clubs, and none of the maintenance. Why? I'd like to tour it." "Soon." "Really? Oh, that's wonderful. You'd be so happy here. I can set something up for this week." I toured Meadowbrook that Friday. Patricia was right, it was beautiful. Modern apartments, independent living, a social calendar that put my current life to shame, and most importantly, affordable. Very affordable. "We have a unit available on the 3rd floor, the director told me. Corner unit, lots of natural light, and it just came up this morning, so you'd be our first showing." I took it. Signed the lease right there. Paid the first month and deposit with a check. That afternoon, I met with James Whitmore. "So, Maggie, you mentioned wanting to revise your will." James pulled out his laptop. "What changes did you have in mind?" "I want to remove Nicole as primary beneficiary." James's eyebrows shot up. "That's a significant change. May I ask why?" I told him everything. The nursing home pressure, the realtor, the assumption that my home was her inheritance to cash in. "I see." James leaned back in his chair. "And what would you like to do instead?" "Split it between Emma and Tyler. But in a trust, they can't access until they're 25. And I want to specify that neither Nicole nor Derek can serve as trustees. That can be arranged." "And the house?" "I'm selling it. I've already signed a lease at Meadowbrook Senior Apartments." James smiled. Not his polite, professional smile. A real one. "Robert would be proud of you." That made me tear up. "You think so?" "I know so. He always said you were tougher than you looked." I put the house on the market the following Monday. Listed it myself, for sale by owner. $795,000. It was below market value, but I didn't care. I priced it to move fast. And it did. I had 3 offers within a week. Accepted one from a young couple with a baby on the way. They reminded me of Robert and me, 35 years ago, standing in an empty lot, dreaming. The closing was set for 6 weeks out. I didn't tell Nicole any of it. I packed slowly, methodically. Every book, every dish, every piece of my life. Patricia came over to help, bringing wine and boxes and refusing to accept any arguments. "Your daughter's an idiot," she said, wrapping my wedding china in newspaper. "What kind of person tries to push their mother into a home she doesn't want? The kind who needs college tuition money, apparently. Emma's what, 12? She's got 6 years before college. This isn't about money, Maggie. This is about control." She was right, I realized. Nicole didn't just want my house. She wanted me managed, contained, out of the way. Well, she was about to get exactly what she asked for. The hardest part was sorting through Robert's things. I'd kept his office exactly as he'd left it. His books on the shelves, his reading glasses on the desk, his sweater still hanging on the back of the chair. "I'm sorry, love," I whispered, boxing up his medical journals. "But I can't keep a museum. And I won't let her turn our home into a payday." I found his old journal in the bottom drawer. He'd kept it sporadically, usually when he was working through something difficult. I opened it to a random page. "Maggie thinks she's not strong enough, but she's the strongest person I know. She just hasn't had to prove it to herself yet." I sat on the floor of his office and cried. Then I got up, finished packing, and called the movers. Nicole tried to call twice during those 6 weeks. I let it go to voicemail both times. She wanted to talk things through and clear the air, which meant she wanted to convince me she was right. She left a message saying Emma and Tyler missed me. That one hurt, but not enough to change my mind. The day before closing, Derek showed up at my door. "Maggie, please." Nicole's beside herself. She feels terrible about how things went. Does she? I didn't phrase it as a question. She does! Look, she overstepped. She knows that now. She just worries about you being here alone. How convenient that her worry comes with a price tag of $800,000. Derek winced. That's not okay, yes. We talked about how the house could help with college, but that wasn't the main. Derek, I like you. I always have. So I'm going to give you some advice. Go home and tell Nicole that she got what she wanted. I'm moving. Tomorrow. Tomorrow? Where? That's not her concern anymore. But Maggie, you can't just... Watch me. I closed the door. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from adrenaline, from the pure rush of finally standing up for myself. The movers came at 8 a.m. Professional, efficient, everything packed into the truck in 3 hours. Patricia met me at Meadowbrook, helped me direct traffic as they unloaded. "How do you feel?" she asked as we watched my life being carried into apartment 3C. "Free," I said, and I meant it. At 2 p.m. I met the buyers at the title company, signed papers for an hour, walked out with a cashier's check for $750,000 after fees and commissions. I was exhausted, exhilarated, and not quite done. I stopped at Emma's school, waited in the parking lot until dismissal. She came out with Tyler, both of them walking toward Nicole's SUV in the pickup lane. "Emma! Tyler!" I called out. They turned, faces lighting up. "Grandma!" They ran over, Emma getting there first. "We thought you were mad at us." "Never. Not at you two. Never." I hugged them both. "I love you so much." "Mom's been really weird," Tyler said. "She keeps talking about how you're moving and won't tell us where." "That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about." I knelt down to their level, ignoring the protest from my knees. "I am moving to a wonderful new apartment where I'll be very happy, and I want you to come visit me all the time." "But what about the house?" Emma asked. Mom said, "The house is sold, sweetheart." I sold it. "You what?" I turned. Nicole stood 10 feet away, face pale. "I sold the house," I repeated calmly. "Closed today at 2. The new owners take possession Monday." "You sold it?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Without telling me." "I don't recall you asking permission when you brought a realtor to my kitchen." "That was I was trying to help you." "No, you were trying to help yourself. But you know what? You were right. I am moving to a lovely apartment at Meadowbrook Senior Community, where I'll have my independence, my freedom, and a social life. Everything you said I needed. But the house, Mom, that was my inheritance." "No, Nicole. It was my house. Mine and your father's, not yours. Not your college fund or your investment strategy. Mine." People were staring now. Other parents, teachers, kids. Nicole's face was scarlet. "You can't do this," she hissed. "I already did. And you know what else I did? I revised my will. You're not in it anymore." The look on her face would have been funny if it weren't so sad. "You're leaving everything to... who? A cat shelter?" "To Emma and Tyler. In a trust they'll access when they're 25. For college, yes. But also for whatever else they need. Starting their lives, following their dreams. Things their mother apparently forgot the value of." "Grandma!" Emma's voice was small. "Are you really not going to leave anything to Mom?" I touched her cheek gently. "Sweetheart, your mother is a grown woman with a good job and a nice home. She doesn't need my money. But you two, you're just starting out. And I want to know I helped give you a foundation. The way my mother did for me." "That's not fair," Nicole's voice cracked. "I'm your daughter." "Yes, you are. And I loved you enough to raise you alone, to work 2 jobs, to sacrifice everything so you could have opportunities. Now I'm loving Emma and Tyler enough to do the same thing. Maybe you'll understand that someday." I gave the kids one more hug, pressed a piece of paper into Emma's hand. "That's my new address and phone number. You call me any time. I mean it." Then I walked away. Got in my car, the one I'd owned outright for 6 years, the one Nicole had said was too old and unsafe. Started the engine. In my rearview mirror, I could see Nicole standing in the parking lot, Derek rushing over to her, Emma and Tyler looking confused. I felt a moment of regret. Just a moment. Then I drove to my new apartment, where Patricia was waiting with a bottle of champagne and takeout Chinese food. "Well?" she asked. "How'd it go?" I told her. And she's furious. Called it her inheritance. Said I couldn't do this. Patricia poured 2 glasses of champagne. "But you did." "I did." We clinked glasses. "That was 3 months ago. I'm sitting in my apartment right now, looking out at the river. It's smaller than the house, yes, but it's mine, all mine. No memories of guilt, no rooms I'm afraid to change because they're shrines to the past. Patricia lives 2 floors down. We have coffee every morning, play bridge twice a week. I've joined the book club and the yoga class. Yesterday, I went to a lecture on sustainable gardening and stayed for the wine and cheese after. I'm more social now than I've been in 5 years. Emma calls me every Sunday. Tyler texts me memes I don't understand but pretend to laugh at anyway. They've visited twice, wide-eyed at the community pool and the game room. Nicole hasn't called at all. Part of me is sad about that. She's still my daughter. I still love her. But I don't regret what I did. Not for a second. This morning, I got an email from James Whitmore. The subject line read, "For your information." The email said, "Nicole came to my office yesterday asking about contesting the will. I explained that you're well within your rights to structure your estate however you choose, and that you're clearly of sound mind. I also mentioned that attempting to contest could tie up the trust for Emma and Tyler in court for years." She left shortly after. I smiled, saved the email, poured myself a second cup of coffee. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Grandma, can we come visit this weekend? Tyler wants to use the pool again and Mom says it's fine. So Nicole is letting them visit. That's something." I texted back, "Of course. I'll make cookies." 3 little dots appeared, then Emma's response. "Mom asked me to tell you she's sorry. She says she understands why you were upset." I stared at that message for a long time. Understanding isn't the same as apologizing. And it's not the same as accepting responsibility. But maybe it's a start. I texted back, "Tell your mom I love her, and I love you and Tyler more than anything. See you Saturday." Because here's what I've learned. You can love someone and still protect yourself from them. You can be kind and still set boundaries. You can be a mother and still be a person with your own needs, your own life, your own future. Robert used to say I was stronger than I knew. Turns out he was right. I finish my coffee and look around my little apartment. The morning sun streams through the window, different from my old kitchen window, but just as warm. In the corner, I've hung a photo of Robert and me on our wedding day. We're both so young, so full of dreams. Below it is a new photo from last week. Patricia, me, Emma, and Tyler at the community barbecue. All of us laughing. Old life, new life. Not better or worse, just different. And completely, entirely mine. I put my coffee cup in the sink, in my apartment, in my new life, and grab my walking shoes. Patricia and I have a 3-mile loop we do every morning, then yoga at 10, book club at 1. Tonight, there's a potluck dinner and movie night in the community room. My calendar is full. My heart is full. And my house? My beautiful house that Nicole wanted so badly? It belongs to a young couple who sends me photos every few weeks. The nursery they painted, the garden they're starting, the swing set they installed in the backyard. They're building a life there, just like Robert and I did. And I'm building a new life here. That's not losing. That's winning. I tie my shoes, grab my keys, and head for the door. Patricia is waiting in the lobby, coffee in hand. Ready? Ready. We step outside into the morning sunshine, and I've never felt more free in my life.